Welcome to the Biz Bash podcast, where we make biz strategy a piece of cake. I'm Elizabeth.
And I'm Cami, but you might know us better as Eliza Ann Calligraphy and Cami Monet. We want to help you, our fellow stationers, artists, and calligraphers, confidently build a profitable and personality-driven creative biz.
We're here to share our honest-to-goodness advice and actionable strategies for ambitious artists.
So put on your party hat, quit being a procrastinator gator, and let's get this party started.
Hello, fair maidens. It is Biz Birthday Bash podcast episode. Oh, it's not an episode. It is an episode, but it's not like that. It's Q and Cake. It's Q and Cake. Number 26. You know how we do. All right. This is where we answer questions from you guys. We were literally just talking about how we should record the videos of our podcast recordings because there are shenanigans and it's hilarious, but we do not do that. But maybe we should. We could put them on YouTube. I don't know if anyone would watch them, but
people would probably be very entertained. But that's kind of what our Facebook group is for. Like, if you want to see our faces, got to get in the Facebook group for those Facebook Lives in the A to Z directory, y'all.
Yeah, that's true. Because then I feel like I would have to look cute for all of our podcast recordings, and sometimes that's just not feasible. So
no, it's not feasible. It's hard enough recording a bunch of things back to back without having to look presentable. So
yeah, and be aware of yourself. I already have to block my video so I don't look at my face.
Oh, but Cami, I've been rocking this outfit lately. It is comfortable and it's stylish. I'm gonna stand up so Cami can see it.
I'm going to describe it. Okay, Elizabeth is wearing a black tank top that has a mock turtleneck it's sleeveless, and it looks like she's got some athleisure on the bottom with some gray sweatpants and with double stripes down the side of the leg. We got a drawstring. It's very 90s Sporty Spice vibes right now. Yes, so very cute, very cute. Definitely business on the top, workout on the bottom.
Yeah, but when you see the whole thing together, and then I wear my $10 Hobby Lobby sandals that look like Birkenstocks but aren't Birkenstocks, it's a whole vibe. It's in right now, that relaxed but trendy athleisure, like Justin Bieber. That's who I think of.
Very Justin Bieber. Well, now I have to show you my outfit. Okay.
And it's all black and white like David from Schitt's Creek. So I like that too.
Okay. Mine is kind of boring, but I do have these white
you have to let me tell everyone. Oh. All right. Cami's standing up.
Okay. First of all, I'm about to blow your mind because.
Whoa. Okay. So she has a tennis dress on, but she just lifted the dress up, and there's actually a fitted Spanx thing under the dress with pockets. It has pockets. Okay, Cami, no, just I wish you guys could see this. And she has really cute white shoes on, white sneakers. So she is looking like she's gonna go play some tennis right after this, which I don't think she is, but that's the vibe here.
That's totally the vibe.
And she has a gold butterfly necklace on and really cute earrings.
They're little star huggies. They're really cute.
Oh.
Yes. But the dress is one of those Hilera dresses. I don't know if you guys have seen those ads, but they're really popular. I have it in this lilac-y purple color too. They're so cute, but they have built-in shorts all underneath it. Not even shorts. It's a full-on bodysuit that goes all the way up with the built-in bra. Yeah. And the shorts have foam pockets on both sides. So it's the best thing.
That's amazing. It doesn't feel constraining.
No, they just feel like butter. They feel very Lululemon fabric. So I definitely like them. Okay. The black is tighter than the other colors I have. So keep that in mind if you order.
And what's the name again?
Hilera.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really cute. It's called the Everyday Dress, but there are some other ones out there. There was some on Amazon, but I don't know if they're legit or not. But the Hilera ones, they have so many cute colors. Elizabeth, you have to go look it up right now because I'm really excited about it. So hold on, everybody.
Well, let's see. I think I can type it in.
Yes. It's very important because I want to show you the lilac color one I have.
Oh, Hilara. There's lots of A's in the name. It's Halara. It wants me to spin the wheel. I'm not going to
don't spin the wheel.
Do that. Okay.
But it's the In My Feels Everyday Dress. And go look at the cute lilac-y color. They don't have it anymore. It's gone. It's the perfect lilac. It's so cute.
Oh, but they have a pink one, and I am all about that.
That pink one's very you. The lilac is a very 90s mini dress color in my head, you know?
These are really good. Well, there's the lilac chocolate.
It's not
mauve.
that one.
It's not.
It's like a light one, like very springy.
Ooh, I would probably want the white one because then it would make me look more tan.
Yeah, they do have the white one on a white and black one on Amazon, but it's not Hilara or whatever.
Yeah.
You can just type in exercise dress. So,
well, yeah, these are all the cutest. So
I know.
I'll have to think about it. But I'm always worried with my freaking long donk of a torso that I won't fit in things that you fit into.
Well,
there was one time, guys. This is the funniest because Cami was like, "I'm obsessed with these workout crop tops, Elizabeth. You have to buy one from Amazon." And I was like, "Okay." So I bought one. You guys, it barely even covered my boobs. That's how long my torso is. And that thing covered Cami's entire torso from upper boob to down to her waist. It barely even made it over my boobs. It was so funny. I was like, what even is this? A tank top for ants?
Tank top for ants. Oh, yes. I feel like they're true to size on the dresses. I feel like they're true to size.
Okay. Maybe I'll think about the pink one. But, you know, I just bought something really important yesterday, a kiddie pool. So I should probably wait a few days before buying something else.
Oh, wait, there is a code for 30% off that I found, and it's 30 or 30FF. It's not 30OFF. I think it's 30FF.
Okay.
So it's 30% off. Okay, everyone, now that we're done talking about our fashion choices, let's talk about this question, which is from, we were going to also mention too that these questions are from 2019, but we thought we would still go back and answer them. We had an older Q and Cake document. And we were like, we should get some of these questions. And also we might have answered them in some form of fashion, not these exact ones, but we're like, since then our answers might have changed, the way we do things, our processes. So we're going to go ahead and which is probably why we didn't answer them in 2019. Because we're like, we already had a similar one.
Yes, that's why these got glossed over. So these particular questions from these people have never been answered, but we probably answered some variety of them. So if you've been a listener for a long time, they might sound familiar, but I swear, they weren't highlighted in the doc because if they're not highlighted, they haven't been answered.
I feel like all the questions sound familiar, but also we answer all of them. So you know what I mean?
We have, when you think about it, because this is our 26th episode, and if we answer an average of 5 per, I mean, we've answered 120, 130 questions by now, at least.
Yeah, that's a lot. Plus our live Q&As in the group.
Oh my goodness. We just answered so many questions. That is basically what Biz Birthday Bash is. It's just us answering questions.
I know. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Okay, here we go. This is from Marina Springer. Her question says, I struggle with the strategy of Instagram. How can I attract the right people? Or is that important? My main part of the followers are other letter addicted or stationery designers, not couples. But my clients should be the couples because I want to design their stationery. Thanks.
All right. This question is from Marina Springer. Did you already say that? Sorry if you did.
Yes, I did.
I always get hung up on it because I feel like I say mine. I say it at the end when I read the questions. And Cami says it at the beginning and I never hear her say it. Anyways, Marina, I picked this question to answer because I have developed some pretty strong feelings about Instagram and social media over the years. And I think that it's not the follower count, it's the way that you use the app that's going to pay off in the long run. So you're right. You're probably going to get a lot of people following you who do the same thing as you. It's a great place to build community with peers. Not always a perfect place to get clients, but it definitely happens. But I would say use Instagram to build relationships with other vendors that are outside your own industry as well. So for me as a stationer, I probably want to be connecting with wedding planners a lot. So I would start following a lot of wedding planners in the hopes that they would follow me because those are the people with the clients. So rather than coming in with the mindset of I need clients to follow me or leads to follow me or couples to follow me, think of it more as if I can get people in the industry to follow me who have similar clientele as me and need the work that I'm doing, then you can start gaining some traction. That's just my opinion because I feel like I wasted a lot of time using Instagram wrong, quote unquote, which I will always clarify and say, like, I'm still very thankful that I am where I am today, because if I hadn't grown my following the way I did, or if I hadn't done Instagram the way that I did, I wouldn't be talking to you guys today. Like, there's a reason why Cami and I are here today doing this. But if I could go back with more of a focus on like the wedding industry aspect, I would do things differently.
Yeah, a lot of times you do get those followers who are literally like the same as you. You're like, why do all these like other artists follow me? But like they're inspired by you as well. So don't like discount that. Like there's still value in having your community around as well. But for me, my strategy was to get in front of couples with using like really specific hashtags. Like I kind of had a really good in with using like watercolor crest as a hashtag. And I know a lot of couples found me through that. So if you have like a unique offering where you can kind of, you know, use a hashtag for that, where it's like letterpress invitations or something like that, and using those types of hashtags, because when couples are looking for vendors, they're not just like, they're looking through hashtags to find like those specific things. Like the couples who want these, the paper like invested couples will look through those and get ideas, or like paper inspiration or something like that. So if you can be more specific with your hashtags, you'll start to get good couples from there. And then it's going to kind of snowball once you have a couple of good clients and they share stuff and their friends see it. And then you kind of get the same clients from their friend group as well and their followers. But it does just take time using those hashtags. And of course, using it as a tool where you are not only waiting for people to come to you, but you're going out yourself and commenting on other vendors, reaching out to them. Like Elizabeth was talking about, making those connections. And then going on hashtags like hashtag she said yes, and seeing couples who like just got engaged, I mean, and just commenting like, congrats, like that's amazing. And they'll be like, who the heck is this person? Click on your profile, see you do wedding invitations, might reach out to you through that. So I mean, you can do some active stuff with that. And that seems like, wow, that's a lot of work. But if you were like, I'm going to set aside 10 minutes a day to like scroll through this hashtag and just comment on some random people's posts, like it could totally pay off. Like you're making a genuine connection there.
Yeah. I started just putting my focus on following planners in the area I really admired and commenting on their stories, specifically things that were not wedding related, believe it or not, because I didn't want them to be like, not that I didn't want them to be like on to me. That's not the right way to phrase it, but it's like, I didn't want to constantly be commenting about the wedding things of like, oh, that's so gorgeous. Like, I love that. I wanted to comment about like the funny things, like their pets or the personal things that they were sharing in their lives, because that's how you kind of like make a connection with someone. So that was the strategy I used a little bit, rather than like going to hashtags, which is also a good idea as well. I just like picked the people I was going to follow and like started to interact like with their stuff or replied to their stories and things like that. So it's kind of like you have to take initiative. Like you can't just like post something and let it sit. I mean, that at the end of the day, that doesn't work.
Yeah. Yeah. Just like everything, you get out what you put into it.
Yep. Totally. But don't make Instagram about your followers, guys. Like I know so many people who have like 6-figure businesses or 6 figures in revenue a year for like their Etsy shops and stuff, who have like 1,000 or less followers. Like that's not the goal here, you know, to get like a ton of followers. It can feel like that's the goal, but that's just a distraction.
Yeah. Don't let that get in the way of anything. Like it's just a nice number to have, but it doesn't necessarily mean anything at the end of the day.
Yep. Very, very true. All right, I can read the next question. Hello, I have been binge listening to your podcast and just finished watching the videos in the Business Sense for Creatives bundle. My next purchase is the directory. Yay! I'm like, I hope you've bought it by now, because this question is from 2 years ago. She said, Business Sense for Creatives was super helpful, especially as someone just about to get started out. I was wondering if you could talk a little more about the finance side of things, such as how much money you decided you needed to start and how you split that up, i.e. percent set aside for resources, supplies, etc. And then aside from taxes, how do you split the money that comes in? How do you decide when and how to pay yourself? And if you can't answer but have a resource or book recommendation, that would be helpful as well. And this is from @gl.scripts on Instagram.
Yes. Okay. So 2 resources really quick. One, we just did a podcast episode about this, finally. So we have a podcast episode called How to Come Up with a Financial Plan for Yourself or something like that. Just search financial plan. Oh, we do have that where we kind of expand on this more. And I also think the book Profit First is really good for just like understanding a little bit more of these specific questions and getting some insight on that. And then it's all just, I know we all hate the answer, it depends, but it really does depend. So pretty much always you're going to be setting aside about 30% for taxes. So just go ahead and have that number in your head, 30% for taxes. So whatever is left over after that is the money you'll have to pay yourself and invest into your business. So I'm trying to think how mine is. Like, I don't necessarily think about the way I split it up. I just know I have like a set amount that I like to pay myself, like every couple weeks or once a month or whatever. Elizabeth has like a very set pay schedule. Mine's just like, oh, you have to get myself some money right now.
Mine tends to like revolve around the idea of it's bi-weekly, but it's like, it might not be every other Friday, right? So like this week, was like Monday. I was like, oh, I should have transferred money to myself on Friday and I didn't. So I'm doing it today.
Yeah. There you go. And then like in terms of how much money you actually need to start, one of the cool things about being in this industry is it is a pretty low barrier of entry in terms of how much you actually need. Like I think you could get started with honestly like $100 like to get a website going and, start making some stuff. Like and like getting like an Adobe membership, like you could get started for pretty low cost. But just keep in mind, if you are interested in doing like product business, you have to spend money to make money. So you are going to have like more investments up front, which is why I think a lot of people start with wedding stationery because there isn't that huge initial investment there.
Yeah, it's nice to kind of start with something that is service-based because you're exchanging like time as a resource rather than money with products. You're spending a lot of money.
Yeah.
And less time, which is why people kind of transfer into that later in life. It does feel like when people get into like paper products that they've probably had a couple years under their belt in wedding stationery at some point. It just seems to work out that way.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say too, in terms of like determining how much you pay yourself, I don't like to think of it as like percentages of a project. I like to set for myself, like my quote unquote salary for the year, just with the understanding that like knowing like, okay, bi-weekly, I intend to pay myself this much. Obviously, like when I first started out, that amount was a lot smaller. Like maybe I was paying myself like $400 every 2 weeks, and now it's like I'm at $1,500 and up easily, depending on how things are looking for Eliza Ann. That's for Eliza Ann specifically, because Cami and I actually get like a whole separate payroll through Biz Birthday Bash, but that's entirely different. It's set up. We're set up as an S corp for that. But when you're a sole prop, you kind of get to determine that amount. So you kind of have to look at like the projects and the revenue coming in, because the last thing you want to do is like pay yourself more than you're able to pay. So I kind of like I would almost like eyeball it when I was first starting out. I was like, oh, I have like this much money in my account and I know like this percentage of it is probably going to be going to taxes. This is why you need a bookkeeping program, FYI. Makes it a lot easier to see your numbers at a glance, to be like, okay, this month I've made this much money. 30% of that is going to taxes, which gives me, like I can maybe pay myself 30%. And like I said, I never really thought of it in percentages. It was more of like that eyeballing it and kind of having an understanding of my expenses every month. But if you just want to get like used to the idea of paying yourself, just put it on the calendar that like every other Friday you're going to transfer $200 to yourself. Maybe that's what you start at, like really, really low threshold. And then as you continue in your business, you'll get a better sense for the money coming in, the money going out, how much you have in general, and then you'll be able to raise that essentially.
Yeah.
It's so hard to think back like 5 years ago to like Elizabeth's brain 5 years ago. Like, what was she doing when she paid herself at that time, Like, what was she thinking?
I will say too, like it's also important to think about putting money back into your business as well. Like don't forget about that. Like don't forget about like putting money back into your business, whether that's investing in like a new printer or in education and resources. Like putting that money back in, investing into it is really important as well. Like, not only do you want to be paying yourself, but you want to be like keeping your business flourishing too. So not just like taking everything you can from it, you kind of like got to water it a little bit. So keep that in mind as well. If you think in terms of percentages, I would say like 10% or something like to think about putting back into your business, maybe even a little bit more when you're starting out so you can build that base up.
Yeah. Well, I like that idea of like 30% is taxes, 30% is expenses, 30% is paying yourself, 10% is like for reinvesting. But then those things can be like switched and pushed around too, because Cami has always done a really good job of keeping a relatively low, what do you call it? Like expense margins.
I don't know.
Your profit margin has always been good.
Yeah.
So you've been able to keep your like expenses lower over time, which has been good.
Yeah. And I've invested a ton of money back into my business, like a ton. We both have, like, and most people end up having to do that. Like, if you're going to grow, you're going to have to put money into your business as well.
Yes. And that means just like taking money you've made and spending it on your business. It doesn't mean like taking money from your personal account and investing it, like just so no one's confused.
Yeah. I think a lot of people starting out too are like, I'm not even paying myself. I'm just going to keep putting the money back into my business until it gets so like robust where I can take that big paycheck and just like it becomes so sustainable.
Yeah. I mean, I went into it being like, I'm probably not going to pay myself for the first 6 months. That was like literally my mindset and what Will and I had kind of prepared for. And when I was able to pay myself, like in the first 2 weeks, I was like, oh my God, babe. I was like, I could pay us money like now. I was so like pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. I would just go in with like having a very good knowledge of your numbers, having that bookkeeping system, and just making sure you understand where things are going, and then you'll be fine.
Yes, exactly. You'll be totally fine. Use something easy. Both Cami and I use GoDaddy bookkeeping now because she made me see the light. Just kidding. We both used it for a while. Cami actually hired out bookkeeping this year for the first time, which is very exciting.
Yes, I use Kickstart Accounting, and I love them. We have an episode with them too, if you want to listen to that.
And did you keep your GoDaddy just to run it side by side? I can't remember.
Yeah, I still just have it going because I'm like, I don't want to delete it. And it's so cheap. I don't know.
Yeah, it's $10 a month, literally. Yeah. So by the time you break it down, like Cami and I have always talked about before that like making some kind of like start your biz resource or starter pack for like businesses would be really fun. So if you guys are interested in that, let us know, because that's an idea that's like floated around and we're trying to like figure out what our idea is this year. Like we were just talking last week, like, do we have an idea for this year of what we're doing? But obviously like we love the A to Z directory because that's where most of our stuff is.
Oh my gosh, we could call it, okay, because our number is 5 this year. We could call it like Ready in 5, the business starter pack.
I'm writing it down. I also wrote something about like build your biz boot camp, but something might have been done like that before. Ready in 5. What was it?
The business starter kit or something like that.
Okay. Business starter camp or kit, something along those lines. Because we want to do, you guys are getting a little sneak peek, like during our birthday week, because it's 5 years this year that we've been in business with our individual businesses. We want to do like one thing each day that week, but it all like is cohesive and kind of goes together. So it's a very like loose, it's a very loose framework at the time.
How loose it goes, we don't even know. But yes, possibilities. Okay, a little sneak peek there. This actually might be coming out around that time. When is this coming out?
Oh, this episode?
Oh, wait,
once we get into this is an August episode.
Oh, okay. Well, by then, we would have announced something, I would imagine. Okay, so coming up, next question. Here we go. This is from @SamNelsonR. Elizabeth, I said the name. There you go. Hi.
Thank you.
I have a client who works for a nonprofit and is interested in having me paint their building to sell at an auction, as well as the rights to the image to reproduce in holiday cards or brochures. I'm having trouble finding information online on how that would be priced. Any experience or expertise you both have on this topic would be so helpful. Thank you for your podcast, for sharing your experiences, and for your encouragement.
Yay. Thank you for the question, Sam. Also, I know this is going to be really awkward. We're going to answer this question after the ad break. So we will be back in just 1 minute.
Way to make it awkward.
Awkward. Hey guys, we just wanted to hop in and talk about one of our amazing resources, the A to Z directory. All of us have thought at some point, how did she do that or how did she make that? And maybe you don't know where to start or how the heck to produce this amazing product you've dreamt up.
Well, the A to Z directory is the missing puzzle piece in your biz, you guys, seriously. So it's built in the form of a yearly membership, and it's your one-stop shop for finding suppliers and vendors for all the things. Literally where to print everything from custom invitations, greeting cards, mugs, koozies, acrylic printing, letterpress, custom ribbon. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And it literally goes from A to Z. From acrylic printers to zipper pouches, we have it in the A to Z directory.
We want to help all of you search less and create more with this list of 300 plus vendors and suppliers. Don't worry, they're very organized. It's not going to be overwhelming and confusing when you join. And this membership also includes access to a private Facebook community. It's incredibly active and involved. And if you need a question answered fast, that is definitely the place to go.
Yeah, our Facebook group really is the best. You guys, everyone is so helpful in there. And we're in there too, answering questions you guys might have. So it's a great way to get access to us and ask us things without sliding into our DMs. So we're more likely to answer you in the Facebook group, just saying. Anyway, also in the Facebook group, this is new for 2020 and we're really excited about it. We are hosting monthly Power Hour Q&A sessions that are live, and these are only available to our A to Z directory members. So you can hop in with us live and ask us all your burning questions in real time and just hang out with us every month. And we do these at different times so you can actually be there live, and the replays are always available in the Facebook group for members.
This resource is priced at $147 a year, which honestly is extremely affordable and is full of so many benefits, such as exclusive vendor coupons for members only. And we would love to have you guys join. Seriously, it's kind of like our family and our tribe. So visit bizbirthdaybash.com/directory to sign up today and use coupon code podcast2020 to receive $20 off your first year. That's podcast, all caps, 2020 for $20 off your first year.
We can't wait to see you in the Facebook group.
Okay, guys, we're back. We're ready to answer the question about pricing for nonprofits. Cami.
I can't even see myself. I'm sorry. I forgot I'm on the camera.
It's so funny watching Cami when we record, guys. Like, I'm like, what even is happening over there? It's so funny.
Oh,
and you guys
Lord.
are like, oh, what the heck? We can't even see any of this.
Oh my God.
Okay. All right, Cami. I feel like I'm going to let you start off with this one.
Oh,
I'll pipe
I knew you were
in.
going to do that. Okay.
Sorry.
Well, number one thing I recommend on this is to get the book. What is it called? The
Licensing.
The Licensing Guild. Oh, crap. Okay, hold on.
Artist Guild? Artists?
No, hold on. I have it like over on my bookshelf and I can't see it. Licensing Guild book. Okay, hold on one second. Everyone hold the phone. I cannot find what it's called. Oh, Graphic Artist Pricing and Ethical Guidelines Handbook. Graphic Artist Guild Handbook. Got it? Graphic Artist Guild Handbook. I also have it on my Amazon page, CamiMonet.com/supplies. Okay?
Yes.
So I know it's on there. They have new ones every year, but that has all the research on what people are charging for this type of thing. So you can see if you're like even in the zone for that.
Has that, like, when's the last time that book was updated? I've always been curious about that.
Let's see. The most recent one is the 16th edition, I think, which came out 2021. So they do
perfect.
update it like
Awesome.
a lot. But you could get an older one. Like they're a lot cheaper. If you get an older one, they probably are, pretty much the basics are there. They also have like contract examples there. It's a great book. I think they're like $40, but it's worth every penny to get that. So definitely recommend that book. And then in terms of this is going to depend, one, on like your typical going rate for this. But also, whatever my going rate for this would be when anyone wants to take my work and reproduce it to use for multiple things or sell it or use it for something like a brochure, which is, using it like a logo, the cost is going to be higher because of the value they're getting out of that. So I will say this too, if this is like a nonprofit who you feel like you want to donate some of your time or half the work or something like that too, like that's definitely a possibility. I don't know the situation, but just throwing it out there. So if you do want to charge full price, you want to consider what your typical rate is for this, plus the extra amount you would charge for licensing. I'm not going to throw out a specific number because this can vary on like the type of work it is, what's entailed in terms of like you know, making the final file. Are you making the holiday cards? So definitely start with this book. I'm sorry, this is not like the easiest question to answer because I don't want to get too specific on anything because I know people will just like take that number and run with it. But I will say, don't underprice yourself. Like this isn't like $100 thing. This isn't a $200 thing. This is going to be like a lot more upwards of that when you are doing licensing work. And I would also start higher with whatever number you throw out because they probably will try to negotiate with you so you can kind of have something to work with there.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like just to give a general range, like I feel like the illustration itself, like the painting of the building itself would be like a couple to a few hundred. Obviously, like when they're a nonprofit, like they always want a better price, like especially in this situation. But then it's like the licensing fee on top of that is something that I feel like that book would be really helpful in kind of like figuring out.
Yeah, for sure. And everyone's rates are going to be different for this. Like my rate would be much different than someone else's rate. Some people would literally be like, yeah, it's $10,000. Like it's just going to depend on the type of artist, but don't underprice yourself. Understand like the value of what you're putting out, and definitely check out that book to just get a better sense of the marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
So
Agreed.
Yes, I know that was a vague one, guys. I hate vague answers, but I had to do it.
You're like, I just had to.
I know. I just know when you start giving like specific numbers, you know, you just latch onto that, and it's hard for you to like think outside that. I want you to think for yourself.
I'm like, definitely not less than 200. Let's just put it that way.
I mean, I would say definitely not less than 500. Now you're making me do numbers, Elizabeth. I just told you we're not doing numbers.
Okay. Moving on. This question is more for Cami. As you paint all your stationery custom work for clients, I would like to know if you really need to recreate the wheel each time, or do you allow yourself to go back to previously painted items to use them, like small flowers and foliage? Do you have a personal stock library? And if so, do you have to inform your clients that a specific piece has been featured on one of your previous invitations? Thank you. Love the show. And this is from Susan Brand Design.
I love this question because I am so proud of the sneaky way I run my business. Like I reuse stuff all the darn time, and no one notices. Like I'm telling you, not one person notices reusing stuff, except Elizabeth will be like, I'm looking for the reused stuff because she knows I reuse stuff. But even then, like sometimes she won't catch all of it. Like I reuse things all the time because the way I'm like reusing stuff, like let's say I use, I don't know, like I'm trying to think of something I reuse, like this little pizza slice that I've reused and a couple of Crest. Like the
hot sauce. You use the hot sauce twice now.
No, that was just once.
Chicken wings?
There was chicken wings once and ranch. Chicken wings and ranch and hot sauce. Those are two. They're separate. I haven't reused both those yet.
Oh, dang. I thought you had.
I know. The pizza, I have reused the pizza. So I've reused the pizza. Sailboat, I've used a ton. There's
Forget-me-nots.
Flowers. Yeah, forget-me-nots. Little champagne glasses I've used. But the way, like I have all these like floral elements, and sometimes I'll just arrange it. Sometimes I'll just change the color on them. Because I'm like, oh, I already did a rose, but I need it to be like an orangey hue instead of this pink. So I'll just adjust the color. No big deal. Nobody notices. It's totally fine. The way I'm arranging them or putting together their suite is still totally custom, and the artwork is still custom because I painted it. It is not something you can get on like Creative Market. So in my mind, and also I don't think my clients care, like honestly.
Well, I was going to say too, for like a little bit of an analogy, like your personal library is like your Creative Market where you just like go into your archives and you're like, what can I use for this? And when you're using it, it's like, it's always reconstructed in a different way. You know, it's not like a client who's getting married in Bermuda, which you've had one. It's not like they're like, I want this exact map. It's like, no, you might take some elements from there to reuse in different ways. But there's normally, I mean, things change because like venues change and locations, hotels. So there's plenty enough to work with where something looks completely different and custom. And that's the point. They just want something that's made for them.
And a lot of times with my custom clients too, like I'm still doing custom stuff for them, like their dogs or their venue or like a very specific flower that they want or whatever it is, you know, but then I can also offset some of that time with using the elements I've already created. This doesn't affect the cost of my suites as well. Like some people are like, oh, if I use artwork you've already used, can we make it cheaper? And I'm like, no, it's still the same because it's still just as much work for me to come up with an idea and put these elements in place and design it in a way that is like cohesive. So it's still just as much money. And I almost always, I don't think there's ever been a time where I haven't had to paint at least a little bit of something for a suite. Like I might reuse some elements, but there are always things that I need to paint. And that just goes into my library for later use. But things like dogs, like the client wants, I can't reuse things like that because they're like, no, I want my dog, like.
Yes,
right. But I'm always reusing stuff. And I also reuse the stuff that I painted for clients for my products. So because I'll do like cool stuff and I'm like, ooh, I would love to use this for something later on. So I always try to paint things separately so I can kind of create my own little library. I wish it was organized, but it's not.
Someday.
I just know where things are and that's what's wrong with everything. But I'm like, I know exactly where this is. And yeah, but yeah, I do that all the time. I don't think, I think a lot of designers or a lot of artists do that as well.
Yes, I think that would probably be right. I was going to say, too, that in regards to this like second part of this question, you definitely do not need to inform previous clients that something is being used again because we have written in our contract that we have intellectual rights to all of that, basically.
Yeah. So if you want to purchase our contract, it will cover your booty so you can do that.
Yeah. And speaking of the contract, we are actually going to take another ad break. We'll be back real quick right after this. Hey there, fellow stationers. Are you creating custom invitations and still sending a lackluster contract that's hacked together with Google searches and generic templates? We've got you.
We've created a custom stationery contract written for stationers by stationers, and it is lawyer reviewed and approved. #LegalRockstar. The custom stationery contract template covers every stationery snafu, protects you and your client's interests, and sets up an expectation of professionalism. We've combined our previous contracts as well as years of experience to bring you a contract that covers your booty and your biz. Become a put-together pro and breathe a sigh of relief knowing that you have a contract that is easy to understand and avoids confusing legal jargon.
The custom stationery contract template is only $297, which is much less than what you can expect to pay anywhere else. And it's written by two gals who have seen it all.
Spoiler alert, it's us.
It's time to do things right. Go to bizbirthdaybash.com/contract to purchase and download your copy today. And as a special treat, use code PODCAST2020 to get $20 off. And that's podcast all caps 2020 to get $20 off. Woohoo! All right, everyone, we are back. And Cammie's going to read the last question for us.
All right. This is from Chaucer Road Paper. Regarding custom clients, how do you guys keep track of the process? Do you have a master checklist so you don't forget anything? What's on your checklist?
Yes and no. Well, because I feel like the master checklist is like in my head, which isn't always the best way to do it. But you guys also have to keep in mind too, like my workload for invitation clients was never like super insane, right? I wasn't managing more than like a dozen clients in a work year, pretty much hardly ever. But I know a lot of people who do like really elaborate, beautiful spreadsheets that kind of like lay out the times, like here's the week they expect to do assembly. Here's the week they expect to do production. It's more of kind of like having that list in your head. And actually, you know what? I did put it into a workflow in Dubsado at one point. So I think our workflow episode, like we did an episode all about workflows for wedding stationery. And I think that pretty much like covers every single step that we have.
Yeah. Let's see, I'm trying to remember like what I kind of do that makes like break it down in a way that would be replicable.
Right.
So I kind of do a timeline for each client and I have like specific dates on there. Like this is when this is due and this is when this is kind of happening. And so I do have that up and I will go through and like check when something has gone, like when we've already done, like love story questionnaire has been sent. They filled it out. I've got their addresses or whatever. But in terms of like the smaller things, like I'll basically keep a running list being like, okay, I'm painting so-and-so suite today. Here's the like 10 things I need to paint for this. Here's like, and I'll keep a checklist of that, but it's not like all in one thing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then like ordering stuff. I'll just simply write on the timeline or like their invoice, like the things I've ordered, and just like check it off and be like, okay, that's all been ordered. I ordered this much, like whatever on this date. So I know when it's coming. Yeah, so that's how I kind of do things. It's all basically based in Dubsado. That's really the best way to stay organized. It's really the only way to stay organized, in my opinion, is having some sort of CRM. If you're working with custom clients, because there are so many moving parts, you have to have some sort of like base to keep everything. I did use Trello for a while as well, because you can kind of move someone through like a little funnel thing. And I liked that when I had a lot of clients at once. It was like a really good way at a glance to just see where people were.
Yes.
Like very visually, but I didn't keep up with it as much as I wanted to. But those are some good options for keeping things organized.
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing is like putting something in place and then actually committing to use that, because it's very easy to put something in place and then like not use it, which is really like inefficient when you think about it.
Yeah, I think the best way to start out is just like opening up a Google Doc and just like typing out every single thing that you would necessarily need to do for any kind of suite. And then like just having that like overview. So you're like, oh, this is what I need to do. And then you can adjust it as you like learn more, be like, oh, I should order stamps at this time or that kind of thing, to understand like how it all works. Because you kind of like start building your system as you're working with clients, like whatever works for you. You really just start to build your own way of doing things, and it makes sense.
Yes. Yep. Agree completely. It takes some time to figure it out, but it's worth it. And as you go through the process with one client, just continue to write down the steps that you're doing for clients over and over and over. And that's how you build a workflow and get yourself like steady with your processes.
Yeah, for sure. And Dubsado has a lot of tools for like making these automated workflows and things like that. So if you just explore all those things, but before you can do all that, guess what? You have to know exactly what's next in the workflow. So you have to start from ground zero and write it all down anyway. So you might as well start with that and see how it goes. But I promise you that will change as you work with clients, because some things I was doing and I was like, oh, this would actually make more sense if I did this like 3 steps ahead versus here. This works better for me. Like some people like addresses later, or, it just depends on like your ordering process and all that jazz too. So start with that master list of just like what will actually happen, and then tweak with each client. Just be really introspective of your processes too, and be like, where can I improve? After every client, just be like, where can I improve this? Where did something get a little sticky?
Yep. And if you guys want to try Dubsado, first of all, it's free to sign up for your first 3 jobs. At least that's how it was for years. And I would assume that they're still doing that. I think it's really smart. It lets you take a look at the program. But if you want 20% off your first month or year, I would do a year because it saves you more money that way. Then you can use the code BizBirthdayBash.
Yay.
Yay. All right, everyone. That wraps up our questions for today. If you want to ask us another question, so then we have some 2021 questions to pull from, you can go to bizbirthdaybash.com/Q and cake.
Yeah. Keep bringing those questions, guys. Ask whatever the heck you want. Okay. Just send them in. We love you guys.
All right. Perfect. We will see you guys next time.
Bye.